Biggest question asked, like what actually happened? They know that you like cut the bottom of your foot, but what actually happened?
I just start like crying because it hurts so bad. Like my foot just slips and there's like coral surrounding.
You were like thinking to yourself, you have soccer tryouts, right? So you're really concerned about that.
Yeah.
Another concern that a lot of people had was the fact that I was filming it. Shall we show them the foot in question?
Yes. I have really ugly feet.
Yeah. Get busy. Get busy. Everybody get busy. I need y'all to report to the dance floor right this minute.
Who is in the house? Who is in the house? Who is in the house? Am I in the house? Who is in the house? Am I in the house? Who is in the house? Everybody.
Hey guys, welcome back to Not Enough Nelsons. Today, we are going to update you on how Sadie's
Crippled foot is.
how her foot is healing and what even happened. You guys have a ton of questions, but before we get started, we are going to do a little recap of the emergency room video so they even like know what happened. Right? Okay, so let's go to that and I'll see you in a minute. You guys help her in.
We love you.
Bye.
Sorry, Sadie. That just got worse because Sadie realized that she has soccer tryouts in 4 days.
They don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, this is not cool. Maybe they won't need to do stitches. If it's just like a wound that they can clean, it will heal fast. I'm
Scared.
I know. Be okay. They always make sure that it's like numb and you don't feel any pain before they do anything, I promise. All right, I think we're here.
All right, this is emergency.
Salt
Patient
water.
drop off. What the heck is this?
Emergency entrance. Oh
No.
my God.
No. No.
There are so many people here.
Mom, I'm gonna die.
Is there any other emergency rooms we can go to? What should we do? I really don't know what to do. They asking me questions.
They asked me if I had an ID. They asked me my name.
All right. She just got wheeled back to this room right here. She's a little nervous because they're going to clean her wound. There's the owie.
And I think it's like two big jagged like claw things. Oh, where are you gonna do those?
I'm just gonna slide them in. She's just gonna see if there's a little. It's all right, Old Steel. You're doing good. Doing so good, Sadie.
Oh, you're doing great.
All right, guys, we have a status report. So they said the edges are too light, thin, that they can't stitch it. Well, yeah, thin, but then the bottom of your foot is thick, and so it doesn't have blood supply, so they can't stitch it. So they have to glue it inside and outside, and then they have to put strips across it.
That's too much work. I'd rather just get the needle, sew it in, not be able to feel that pad of my skin anymore.
They can't. Doctor knows best, and they said you can't stitch it. It's too thick skin, and the edges are too thin. So they took her back to get an x-ray, and so we will find out if she has a rock in it.
This is some sticky stuff I'm going to put on either side of it, and then I'm going to bridge over it with these strips.
Did it hurt? Not that bad? Good. She was very worried the glue was going to sting.
No, this one's stinging. Okay, all done.
Alright, so it didn't have a rock in it, and she glued it shut, and she put these strips over it. Now she's gonna wrap it. We're gonna be all better. Alright guys, so a lot of you asked a ton of questions, and we're gonna answer those questions now. So, number one, biggest question asked, like what actually happened? They know that you like cut the bottom of your foot, but what actually happened?
Me, half of my family was going out snorkeling by this ocean reservoir thingamajigger.
And I was back at home
making dinner.
making dinner.
With Ledger.
Yes. And
So-
I specifically remember when you guys were getting ready to go. What were you looking for?
I was looking for swimming shoes.
she was looking for swimming shoes.
And I asked everybody, and I looked all over, and I couldn't find them. And I knew I was supposed to wear them, but I couldn't find them in time.
Yeah, like you know the kind that like slip over your whole foot and the bottom is like all plastic. She couldn't find those kinds, so she ended up wearing like they're kind of like what are they called? Not Crocs, but kinds that are plastic and just go over the top like that.
Crocs.
I mean, yeah, so they work. Like they kind of work,
Birkenstocks.
but not as good as like a real swim shoe that goes around your whole foot.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we couldn't find them.
So I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just be careful. You know,
Won't step down.
Yeah, won't step down. Won't, you know.
Which you don't really anyway. When you're swimming on top of coral, you're not supposed to step down because you'll like injure the coral, or you could get one of those, what are those pokey things that like poke the
Sea
water?
urchins.
Yeah, like a sea urchin. Anyway, so you knew not to do that.
I was snorkeling at the beautiful, most beautifulest place, whatever, and there's like so many fish, and like long story short.
So pretty.
And so after that, like I was with like Josh and Lily and Navy and all of them in like a group, like whatever. And then I hear my dad on the other side, like, Beckham, get down or whatever, like, come here. Beckham wasn't listening and he was like yelling. So I was like, okay, well, it's whatever, Dad can handle it. And then Delaney had to go back anyways because she was getting cold or something. So I was swimming back with Lily, and then I was like, okay, we're already here, I'll just go help Dad. I was like going swimming, and there's these rocks, and they looked like they're just all covered in moss. So I thought they were like all soft and like everything. I was like, okay, Dad, here, I'll hurry and go get Beckham, you know, because you can't obviously get up on these because you're too tall, too big, you know. And so I went to go step up. My dad grabs my hand or whatever, and he goes, watch out, it's slippery. Like my foot just slips, and there's like coral surrounding this whole thing, and so my foot slips, and I just like get a sharp pain in my foot, and I thought I like maybe just scratched it or something. And so I try to go stand up again, and like I just start like crying because it hurts so bad, and I just like pull my foot up, and I'm like looking down, and I was like, and I just see like the skin up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and like the blood's going up. That's bad. And so I was like in pain, and I was just like screaming and like, it hurts or whatever. And Dad, he's like, okay, it's fine, we got this, like just get on the boogie board that we brought out, some stuff, you know, snorkeling, whatever. So I got on like this board and just paddled all the way there. Tricky part, when I was getting up, I couldn't step with both of my feet. So I was like, what am I gonna do? So I just warmed up and just put my foot back in the water. It kept stinging because the salt water. I just put it back down and like climbed my way up or whatever. And then my dad got his shirt and like wrapped it around my foot. We were walking back, and it's like a 10-minute walk. I have no foot like to put down. I'm walking back or whatever, and I'm just crying. And then everybody's just like thinking like, oh, it's just a scratch on the foot, you know, it doesn't matter or whatever. So like they're just all making jokes about it or whatever. And then little do they know, it's deep in my foot, like it's flipping, like I could stick a fork in it.
Yeah, it is pretty deep. And the kids did apologize later because I don't know why, I don't know if any of you guys out there are like this, but do you guys like laugh when someone like falls down? A couple of my kids, only a couple, they can't help themselves. Like when someone falls, they just start laughing. And she's actually one of the culprits of that.
I told her that though, so I'm not dying.
So she like does that same thing too, but it still wasn't nice. And so a lot of them apologized. And so then Dad brought you home.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna go to the doctor's, but on the way home, actually, my dad stopped at like this ABC store and got some Band-Aids, and like
he got like stuff and like whatever.
He's like, we'll just rinse it out.
We'll rinse it. I mean, a lot of people make like a coral cut kit. I've heard.
And I was
later,
like,
people who live there, they just have a little coral cut kit because it happens a lot.
And my dad was like, okay, let's just go home and see if we can fix it ourselves. So we went back to the house, and I just was out there, and I showed my mom my foot and stuff, and I was like, it hurts really bad, like it's throbbing, and it like won't stop bleeding. Like there's a huge puddle of blood like on the shirt and everything. So my mom was like, okay, let's just bring you to the hospital. Like it looks pretty bad. Like I don't think we can clean ourselves. And my dad already had like a bottle of like Dasani water about to pour it on my foot. And he's like,
and I'm like, anyway, maybe if like I was a pro and I had like, you know, done this before, maybe I'd be more confident, but I wasn't sure that there wasn't like a piece of coral stuck inside of it because you couldn't really see. I mean, you guys even saw in the video that the nurse didn't know for sure, and they had to do an x-ray to see if there was any coral stuck in it. So anyway, I felt better about going and just making sure we did it right, that, you know. So one of the big concerns that you had when it was, you know, when it first started, you were like thinking to yourself, you have soccer tryouts, right? So you're really concerned about that. And I said in there, well, Dad's your soccer coach, so he'll probably help. Let me clarify that a little bit. So Dad is a soccer coach for varsity, but he actually doesn't coach sophomore or JV,
freshmen,
like all of that.
That's different coaches.
Yes. So you were valid in being worried about it. But some good news is they decided that, of course, she couldn't play on it for tryouts. So they went off of a camp that Sadie had went to just like 3 weeks before that she worked really hard and did a really good job. And so they're able to see her skills and her like ability to work hard there. So the news is in, and Sadie
Made the team.
made the team. She's so excited. And it had nothing to do with Benji actually, because
Yeah, it like everybody thought that like, well, like you didn't go to tryouts and stuff, and I felt really stupid not knowing this. When you go, if you're injured, you still have to go, okay? So I didn't go to like the first 2 because there was 3 days of it, but I talked to like my dad and I talked to the coaches, and they were basing like everything off of like the camp because I was literally like tryouts. They were like, she did really good, so I think she is fully like capable of like being on the team and stuff, like no matter her foot. So got on the team.
so that's exciting.
Yes, and so I didn't have to worry, like got on the team and I was like, phew. And so yeah, everything
so
worked
that's
out.
good news there. Another concern that a lot of people had was the fact that I was filming it. And so, well, first of all, that's our life.
Yes.
We film our life. You know, obviously we don't film everything in life. In fact, you probably only see 25% of our life. As far as Sadie's concerned, like especially like when I was down there like showing her foot and she like had her like hoodie over her face.
I was having bad anxiety about it. I was like,
Yes. But a lot of people ask like, why were you up there like holding her hand? Why were you down there filming her foot?
anything,
Why was I
don't
down
do
there?
that. Do not hold my hand if I'm doing that. I have to be to myself.
And what did you tell me to do?
Okay, I was the one that goes, let's film this because I wanted to see like, I thought it was funny, like, have you seen those loopy videos where like you want to look back and see how loopy you were? I wanted to see how bad and like how bad my foot was and
Yeah,
stuff.
and how they fixed it, which I was like, okay.
It
I
wasn't,
could go down
but
there
the thing
and
was,
film
it wasn't even in the climax of it. It was after I was like calmed down, like I was still in shock, but like I was calmed down and stuff, or whatever. But like right as like I got out of the water or whatever, I was crying and then I was like, I want to film this. Like that's my life. Like I want to film this.
Oh geez. Anyway, sometimes we film. Believe it or not, there is a lot of things in our lives that we don't film. And so I know that a lot of you are like, oh, why do you film this? Why do you film that? First of all, Sadie was like, Mom, will you film what she was doing with my foot down there? That's why I went down there and filmed the bottom of her foot.
I even asked her to make a TikTok about it.
Yeah, but yeah, which we did. So sometimes we film, sometimes we don't, and you know, I just leave it up to like my discretion of whether I feel like the individual or the child is okay with filming, and sometimes they're not, and I don't film. And so you guys don't get to see actually a lot of things that happen in our house, but when they're okay with it, I'm okay with it. It's our life. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that we wanted to kind of address in the video is the gentleman who was in the handcuffs. And so I want to kind of be a little bit nicer. That night, guys, so you have to picture this. We drive up and there's this big 6'4", 6'5" guy. He looked a lot like Trey actually, but like older, but he was really big and muscly, right? And he had on the handcuffs behind his back, but also he had the leg shackles on his feet. And there was 2 policemen, one on each side of him holding him, and it just kind of looked aggressive. It looked scary. It looked intimidating, I'll say that. I'm sure the guy is like, I don't want to prejudge anybody. I have no idea if he's like violent or anything like that, but it scared us at first. So he's probably a fine gentleman. He probably, I don't know what the situation was with him, but we were scared at first. I want to apologize for saying like, oh, I'm scared, because I don't want to anyway, I don't want to prejudge. Who knows? That might be a really, really nice guy, and I don't want to say anything about that. But it was intimidating. We will say that.
I wasn't intimidated.
No, she wasn't intimidated at all. You didn't bring up the whole, what was that, freaky show or something? Death Day or something?
Oh,
Yeah,
Happy
she
Death
didn't bring that up at all. She wasn't intimidated at all.
Have you seen Happy Death Day? Where the criminal gets unlocked from the prison? The hospital? No! And he kills everybody!
Why have you seen Happy Death Day? But I just want to apologize because, you know.
It was frightening at first because we didn't know where we were.
Yes.
We saw random people that intimidated us.
Yes.
Like you meet somebody and they're intimidating.
At first.
Doesn't mean
Yes.
they're mean. It's like meeting me for the first time.
Anyways, the people there were amazing. The nurse that we had was amazing. She was so sweet and so kind, and the people even checked us in were so great. They were doing the best they could. They did so well. There was like, when we first got there was probably like 50 people, and it was so fun to watch the camaraderie between the nurses. At one point, one of the nurses was like, we've got this, we're like catching up, and then the one's like, we do, and they gave each other a high five. Like, they were doing great, and we were just really intimidated at first. And so I hope that you guys know, like, we were really grateful for the Maui emergency care people. Like, they They were awesome. Their facility was great. It just was intimidating at first. And the sign, guys, the sign to not be aggressive was like taller than me.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
like,
a
is
real
there
big
violence
sign,
usually?
and it was just like right there with the person in all the handcuffs and shackles, and so we were like a little like ah! Scared, but it was okay. It all ended up fine. People were wonderful.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right, now, as far as the update on the actual foot in question, shall we show them the foot in question?
Yes. I have really ugly feet.
You do
My
not.
toenails
All
are
right.
off. Like,
It's all good. Guys, she worked so hard at camp for soccer. She lost both of her big toenails. Want to show them that?
I got
No
trampled
toenail.
on.
And no toenail here. Like literally. That's how hard she worked. No toenail.
No
people.
like, I literally got stamped on. I
Yes.
worked
Anyway.
my butt off.
But you know, it's a good thing you worked so hard at camp because you end up needing that to basically be your tryout. So
Yeah.
it was good. All right, let's show them your foot. It's looking so much better. Oh my gosh, look at this, you guys. It is looking so good, so much better. It still has a little bit of work. Like she can't actually play in the first few games or this next weekend.
I feel fine. Like I can walk on it now, and I can jump on it now and run on it. But my athlete director, like personal
athletic director.
she was like, you can't play for like another 10 more days, and I was like, what? So I can't play in the preseason games.
Yeah.
I have to wait till home games.
Yeah, but it's okay. All is well.
So now I have to go to practice and sit out in the blazing hot sun and not do anything.
Yeah, that's kind of rough, but
I really want to play.
it
but
is what it is. Well, that is the end of our update on Sadie's Maui emergency.
My
Yeah.
coral foot.
My coral foot. That's a,
I have a piece of Hawaii with me everywhere I go.
Oh, that's nice. There's actually not coral in it, but that's a nice thought. It's a nice thought. All right, we love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.